Hello everybody, welcome back to your part 2 of video T109. The title of this video, as I mentioned before, is The Reading of the Tea Leaves. Yes, some people believe you can read tea leaves and predict the future. Well, I'm telling you, you can read the tea leaves and find out what the past was to help you for the future. Of course, by that I mean you're going to be able to observe how you are progressing in your treatment. No one likes to talk about it. I've mentioned this in previous videos a long time ago. If you have an infant child, or if your sister or brother has one, you think nothing of it if you change their diaper and you observe their stool and you are cleaning them up and you think it's cute, maybe. But an adult, you would never discuss it. That's hands off. You don't talk about it. But I got news for you. We're all the same. We're all the same flesh and blood. We all walk around in our bodies, live in our bodies 24/7. You know more about your cars, which I told you. You know more about your computers, more about social media than you do your own human body. But that human body, you have to take care of. And if you don't understand it, you're not going to do well. Well, this is the condition you have, irritable bowel syndrome. You don't know why you have it. You don't know what causes it. I hope you did learn from all these videos. The end result of eating naturally is the production of your stool. That is so important to understand. We tell people all the time, particularly a gastroenterologist, if there is blood in your stool, you should be concerned. It depends what it is. If it's bright red, chances are I wouldn't worry about it too much. Could be due to constipation. It could be when you are cleaning yourself, there was a little bleeding due to a hemorrhoid or something right near your anus. It's your body. You got to know about it. Nothing to be embarrassed about. If it was dark, tarry stool, that's something to be concerned, because that means there was bleeding further up your alimentary canal. And that blood coagulated by the time it got to be expelled. So it's almost like a scab that dries and gets dark and is no longer bright red. So that's an indication that you might have an issue and you should see a doctor. My concern is talking about the physical makeup of your stool. That is a clear window into what's going on in your small intestine. The formation of stool is a vital, important function. Remember, I had told you that there are guesstimates, forget estimates, guesstimates of anywhere from 10 trillion to 30 trillion bacteria living within your gut. An absolute majority of those bacteria are good guys. They're friendly guys. We need them. We have a symbiotic relationship with these bacteria. Symbiosis means the benefit for each other. We are the host for them, where they can live, function, and grow, feed off of our food, and they perform some very vital functions that aid in our metabolism. Some even help produce vitamins that you need. So that bacteria is very vital and important to you, and you should understand that. When something goes awry, such as irritable bowel syndrome, the consistency of your stool changes. You should be observant and look after you use the toilet. It's very important to understand. There is a chart that your gastroenterologist has It's called the Rome Stool Chart or Study, and they rate it based on the consistency, the shape. It's very important. Does it lean towards constipation? Is it outright diarrhea? That is very important because the end result of your stool is about 30% bacteria, 30% waste products, 30% water, some minerals and salts. So the finished product should contain almost no nutrients or food. If you suffered from IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, you had effacement of your brush border, you have a functional disorder. Your small intestines is no longer functioning to optimum or properly. That means you're not absorbing the nutrients you need. Those nutrients, which are products of the food you ate, can be very rich in nature, which in turn, if they're not metabolized, what are they doing? They're creating a smorgasbord for those resident bacteria. In addition, pathogenic or disease-causing bacteria actually grow exponentially. They grow almost at a higher rate and faster rate than the normal bacteria. So if you end up with gas, cramping, bloating, what are you doing? You're fermenting those sugars that would normally have been broken down by the time they get to your different sections of your small intestine, the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. You are feeding those bacteria, and that's why you get that distension, cramping, bloating. The only way you're going to get rid of that is facilitate, cure, and repair of your brush border. That is of vital importance. So again, you're going to employ ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. You are going to visually look at it. When you start seeing your stools reduce in frequency, the consistency changes, where it becomes firmer. You're going to then require less frequency of evacuation or using the lavatory. That is of vital importance. You yourself are going to be the observing person to see that you're improving your health. I wish your physician could do this, and don't fault your physician. Literally, in today's world, between the economics of medicine, the practice of medicine, your physician just does not have the time and the facilities to train you, to teach you, to explain what I'm explaining to you. Many of them are not even aware of this. You must realize 90% of those physicians that you might have seen when they went to medical school, they never even heard of the microbiome or the microbiota of the gut. They never even thought about it. The idea that there are 10 trillion to 30 trillion bacteria living with you in your body at any given time never occurred to them. The other issue I want to talk about is antibiotics. Part of the explosive growth of these intestinal disorders can be traced to overuse and abuse of antibiotics. That microbiota within your gut, hopefully, normal people have what's called homeostasis. That means those populations between good guys and bad guys or pathogenic bacteria, the good guys keep the bad guys in check. They don't grow exponentially because you don't have damage to your brush border. You're producing all those 26 or more enzymes, and your body's functioning normally and optimally. It is only when you suffer a damaged brush border that you end up having these issues. So what I'm trying to tell you is you must be perseverant with your recovery process. I have studied celiac disease. And remember, I'm going to refresh your memory. Celiac disease is where you have an autoimmune situation. You are allergic to the gluten in food, but to the extent that it'll literally cause damage. One of the ways they tell that you have celiac disease, I once discussed it in earlier videos, you have what's called villi. Those are the micro projections, finger-like projections in your small intestine, which are part of the brush border. And they protrude out into the lumen or the tube of your gut. The function of that is, on those cells and on that lining are those enterocytes or cells that are glands, and they produce the 6 enzymes. They also suck in, absorb the nutrients from the food. However, in celiac disease, the damage is so severe from the reaction to eating gluten that these villi become blunted. They're lying flat. So when a doctor goes and observes through an endoscopy and sees you have blunted villi in the mucosal lining or the brush border, you most likely have celiac disease. They can do a biopsy and determine it. They also can test you by testing your blood for IgD, IgDA, certain immunological markers that you have when you have celiac disease. Reason why I bring it up is because the only cure for that is abstinence. No gluten at all in the diet. And it could take anywhere from 2 to 5 years for a celiac patient to recuperate and repair the damage to their brush border. Well, I equate the same thing to inflammatory bowel diseases. Now, be very careful and understand. Medicine knows that every 2 to 5 days, you slough off those cells and your brush border regenerates. That is not my prime objective and care here, because yes, your brush border will heal. And how would you know? When you start eating again and you don't have that sore feeling, those goblet cells in there are producing mucus, which makes the food slide through, and you don't have that raw, sensitive feeling anymore. So you know your brush border is healing. My contention is those glandular cells take a long time to become regenerate again, and that's your issue. You're facilitating repair process by taking that enzyme replacement therapy. You don't have the enzymes, so you take these enzymes. That prevents damage, continued repetitive damage to your brush border. And that's vital and important. And I implore you to continue using these. Somebody asked me, well, how do I know when I no longer need them? My answer is easy. ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. When you start becoming extremely constipated, or you start to feel wonderful again, you then can cut back on it. And you can test yourself with certain high FODMAP foods, eating a peach, see if you can handle it. That's the old-fashioned elimination diet. After you do an elimination diet and you find out what you're allergic to, then the doctor will tell you, we're going to reintroduce one food at a time and see if you can handle it. Well, I'm telling you, you do the same thing with IBS. So if you're going out to dinner and you want to have some guacamole, try a little. Just do not get piggy. Be patient. Be persistent with your body. If you follow what I'm telling you, you're going to be very happy. We're not talking about the present. We're talking about the future. If you follow what I tell you, you're only cementing the progress for the future. I don't want you to suffer your whole life, and you don't have to. If you do what I'm telling you, you employ ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. I once said, a good physician will listen to the patient. A patient has the unconscious ability to tell the doctor a lot of telltale signs about their current malady or condition with the physician without ever having to ask the patient. Just listen to what the patient has to tell them. The unfortunate thing is today, the doctor, the minute he comes into the examining room, or she's ready to go. As soon as she says, okay, this is what we think's wrong with you, I'm going to do blood tests, CAT scans, x-rays, and then you'll come back. And she'll say, I'll make an appointment in 2 weeks, we'll go over your test results. How about asking you what your background is, what your family background is, what is your diet like, what do you eat, what types of foods does your family history have in their diets? That's a very important thing. People who come to this country and have a radical change in their diet affects their irritable bowel syndrome. One last thing, there was just a recent study done in Italy where a group of medical students went to Tanzania. They spent time with an African tribe and they studied their microbiota in their gut and compared it to Italians in Italy and saw the variations and the differences. Mark my word, in Tanzania, they did not have in the desert or in the forest McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Burger King. They didn't eat the kind of foods we do. We have helped create what you experience today, irritable bowel syndrome. A lot of our medical conditions are based on our lifestyles. We'll go into it further, but I want you to observe. That's why I told you to log all your information. If you look back and you review that log, you will see when you were using the lavatory 8 and 10 times a day, and now all of a sudden, well, after 3 months, I'm going maybe 2 times a day. And I don't have the urgency. I don't have the gas, cramping, bloating, loose stools. You are improving. Your dysfunctional brush border, small intestine mucosal lining is starting to function again. You will get better. Follow what I say in the book. And also remember, any questions you have, I'm here for you. What more could you ask for? You don't have to pay any money. I'm not committing you to anything. I'm offering you free advice. Just email me. If you have a question, I will talk to you. Just email lbodnerplc@att.net. Again, lbodnerplc@att.net. Very clear, very simple. I will respond to your email. So don't forget that email, lbodnerplc@att.net. Looking forward to helping you and looking forward to hear how well you're doing with this treatment protocol. Stay well.